About Spirent, we're a test and measurement company, around $500 million per year kind of revenues. We are primarily divided into three business units. One is the network and service security, where people like the infrastructure vendors like Cisco or Ericsson, they might use our solutions for testing the infrastructure elements that they're developing. Then the next one is the lifecycle services division, which monitors more the live networks. So you can be using it for monitoring a Verizon or AT&T network while it's in operation and making sure it's working properly during live hours. And the division that me and Dave are primarily associated with is the connected devices, which is more focused on the wireless side of the house. And we serve both the connected devices, like the end devices like Apple, Samsung, or any other vendor might be making, along with infrastructure like Ericsson or Nokia might be delivering for the radio side. So right now, what I'm seeing in the market is we see that a lot of vendors are claiming a lot of benefits of 5G, right? So most of the end kind of companies are in the phase of evaluating those technologies and seeing how well those solutions are panning out. So they are using some of our solutions to really see, like kind of bang on those evaluation systems and see, okay, how true are those vendor claims. I believe in terms of commercialization, like next year you'll see more field trials kicking off in addition to what you already see from people like Verizon. And then in 2020 is probably where we hit mainstream.
Yep, agreed. So 5G is a big jump from where we were with 4G, or where we're currently at with 4G. So lots of new technology is going to have to be developed to get the 5G networks to get to the point where they're advertising. So lots of field trials happening now. Lots of opportunities for new players to enter the market with technology to help enable the 5G goals. This is a big change. When you compare the change from 2G to 3G or 3G to 4G, going to 5G is a total rethink of the network. So going to smaller cells, densification of the network, going to these higher frequencies that 5G is operating at, up in the millimeter wave, these wider bandwidths to get the data rate down to the device, into the user. So total rethink of the network, how it operates. And that's why they're doing these early field trials now, try to figure out these different pieces of the technology and how they'll fit together.
Yeah, it's amazing how many technologies are going to be in play because of these millimeter kind of waves which can't penetrate buildings, right? You'll see a lot of other kind of technologies also kicking in combination. Things like LTE assisted access, right? Where you're using LTE along with maybe some Wi-Fi signals at a more standard kind of frequency range where you can actually use them inside the building as well. So again, a lot of not just 5G core technology, but also coupled with some of the other technologies to get you ubiquitous coverage all over.
So one area of expertise for Spirent is in our RF channel emulation. So we have a long background of delivering those products out into the market to help people test their network and device side to help the deployments. So we're working with a number of infrastructure providers and chipset device providers, testing various parts of their device to see how they'll operate over these new bands that are coming out in millimeter wave.
That's a really good thing that I'm seeing in the industry. Like millimeter wave could be used for the backhaul purposes. So instead of running wires, right, you can just use millimeter wave for high speed backhaul to femtocell or something, right? So that is kind of a static kind of a use case. The other cases that we are seeing is also people using it for very short range communication, like you have your device in your hand and your projector is on the other side of the table and you're just using it for that kind of short range communication. So different use cases for this millimeter wave kind of technology where you don't have to really go through walls. and it still works pretty well. One of the main priorities that we are focused on is obviously the channel emulation to make sure you can test your technology in a more realistic RF environment, whether it be deep urban or open sky, right? So that's one area. The other thing that we keep looking at is Internet of Things, which is like the low speed, high battery life kind of use case. So we have also solutions targeted for that. And then we continue to work on positioning or location where you might be making a 911 call, or you are trying to use your maps to get to the location, and how that's evolving with 5G as well.
So for FirstNet, the quality of the communication is going to be critical. They're going to be wanting to do not just voice, but higher bandwidth scenarios of video and things. So they might have a firefighter with video so other people can see what's actually happening. And these networks have to be very robust. So these are life protection networks. So the robustness of the network, the ability to set up these cells, have direct communication, low latency communication be critical for the FirstNet applications.
Yeah, and building on what he is saying, the firefighter might be using a drone, right, which is streaming down video to them. So that's another use case you can see happening for FirstNet kind of applications. The other key focus area for Spirent is security. So security of communication on the wireless as well as the wireline piece, as well as the GNSS piece, which are all prone to hacking. So that's another focus area for Spirent, where we are investing heavily to try to educate the market on the challenges associated on that front as well. Yeah, so it's a really, how do you scale? That's a scalability problem, right? How much data is coming back to your server farms? And that's where our network solutions from the network and security side really kick in, where people are going for 400 gig per port kind of switch speeds. So those kind of chipsets are being developed on the core network side to handle that kind of traffic, right? On the other side, on the wireless side, hey, how can I use a very limited amount of spectrum to squeeze in communication with this many devices? That's some of the what some of these technologies are trying to enable. And as you can see, there are so many standards coming out there, Zigbee, LoRa, all these ones, right? And let's see who wins out and who gets mass scale adoption there.
Yep, and I think building on that, there won't be one security solution to solve this kind of problem. It's going to be almost layers of an onion, where there'll be different security features depending on where you're at in the network, if you're an endpoint or if you're a server, and multiple layers of protection around that.
Go to our website, www.spirent.com.